I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I run a fully sustainable business because I don't. I use way more cello sleeves than I'd care to admit. However, just because I don't run a fully sustainable business doesn't mean that there aren't certain choices and swaps and decisions that I can make that help me be a more sustainable handmade business. So today I thought I'd kind of pull back the curtain and kind of show you guys some of the swaps that I've made, some of the wins, and some of the compromises I've had to make in my business, and maybe give you a little bit of inspiration on ways you might be able to make some swaps to help your business be a little bit more eco-friendly and sustainable as well. Before I get started, if we haven't met yet, my name is Melissa, and I run a brand design studio by day and a handmade product business by night. And on this channel, I talk mainly about that handmade product business. I love to share with you guys my journey in building that business and any of the tips that I've learned along the way. So today, it's all about how I reduce waste and increase sustainability in my handmade products. So when it comes to making my handmade business more sustainable, I found there's kind of three main areas that I can do that in. The first is in the design of the product itself. The second is in the design of the product packaging. And the third is in the design of the shipping packaging. So I thought I'd walk you through what I'm doing in each of those areas to be a little bit more eco-friendly and sustainable. When it comes to the actual design of my products, one of the biggest ways that I can choose to be more sustainable versus less sustainable is in the actual design of the product itself. Meaning, one of the things that I really believe in for my brand is to try to design products that are somewhat timeless. However, not timeless in the sense of like gold hoops or something like that, where you're gonna wear them your whole life. But timeless in the sense that I don't chase a lot of trends. I don't make a lot of designs that are gonna kind of be here today, gone tomorrow. I try to make the designs that people fall in love with and then maybe wanna like keep on their wall or keep on their key ring or keep in their jewelry rotation for many years to come. I always hope that by creating timeless designs, they're things that people will hold on to for a long time. Another element of the idea of not chasing trends is I don't like to create products that are just like meaningless trinkets. Trinket culture is actually like a huge trend right now, but it's not something that I can get behind because I just don't like the idea of putting something out there that doesn't have like a real useful day-to-day purpose. I don't mean any offense to anyone who does create those products. If that's what you love to do, like, more power to you. Please keep doing it. But for me, I have a really hard time putting out there something that I don't really understand its purpose for, that it's just like a cute thing that serves no purpose. So I like to create products that have some sort of a purpose. Even things like my magnets, people are buying them either to pin things up on their fridge or other boards, or they're buying them as a souvenir from a trip they've taken to Arizona, and they'll probably keep it for years and years to remember that trip. Or even things like my key rings. Most people do have some sort of key ring on their fob just to make handling their keys a little bit easier, but it's something that you use and then like stays around and you keep using it. When you make a product that's really useful or treasured by somebody, it's something that's gonna stick around and not end up at Goodwill or in a landfill. Another thing I keep in mind when I'm designing my products is I try to design products where I can manufacture or create or assemble those products in bulk. Creating products in bulk tend to be a little more sustainable because there's just less shipping, less emissions with the transportation of the shipping. There's less me going from store to store to store, wasting gas. That's something you don't think of very often, but having to order things over and over and over again, whether it's supplies or manufactured products, actually contributes a lot of waste into the world. And so if I can order one really big order versus one smaller order, that's definitely a way that I can make my product just a little bit more sustainable. Next, when it comes to packaging your products, there's lots of different ways that you can make choices to help increase the sustainability of your business. For example, when I sell stickers wholesale, I sell them in a case of 10 stickers, just like this. This is the new packaging in these little paper glazine envelopes, but I used to package them in one of these plastic sleeves. You can imagine how many of these I go through in a year, probably a couple hundred. And so having made a swap from this to this is so much better for our environment. That was a pretty easy swap. I just had to think about it and then make the choice to do it. Other ways to be more eco-friendly in your packaging is simply to forego the packaging altogether, and whenever you can, sell your product loose. So I do that with our key rings. I sell these loose at craft shows, I sell these loose at my consignment shops, and I sell these to my wholesalers loose. There is no additional packaging for these key rings except for a tiny little removable sticker on the back. This is something that I'm really kind of proud of, that I haven't added any extra packaging to this over the years. Another thing that I don't package are our magnets when selling these to wholesale. I do have them packaged for some of my consignment shops because the way I have to display them is on a peg. But at my wholesale shops, lots of times they have magnetic displays. And so this is a better way to provide them to those stockists, and it helps reduce the amount of packaging I'm putting out into the world. I also don't do any additional packaging on our Christmas ornaments. They're packaged pretty much the same way the key rings are, with just a small little removable sticker on the back, and then they're just loose and people can hang them on trees in their stores, or in my consignment shops, I hang them on hooks and it works really great. So those were some of my success stories when it comes to reducing the packaging on my products. However, I do still have some items that are packaged in cello sleeves. I do not love this at all. I think about all the time how to potentially get around these cello sleeves and stop using them or use them less. And so far, I have not come up with any ideas yet. If you have ideas, put them in the comments, because legit, I want to think of ways that I can still display them well, that my wholesale customers still want to buy them, but I don't have to use as many plastic sleeves. Some of my pieces that I'm still looking for ways to improve on the packaging are our acrylic magnets. I do package these on paper cards in cello sleeves. Reason being, first of all, for my consignment relationships, I have walls at most of the places where I sell consignment. And so I have to hang things on the wall on hooks. So this needs some way to hook. I could get a magnet board. I have thought about this a million times, but I tend to go through way too many. Keeping the magnet board full would be like a full-time job. Not to mention, these are pretty small. They're only 1.25 inches high, so it would be highly stealable if they weren't in a package. Next are our bookmarks. So we sell two different kinds of bookmarks. I sell brass bookmarks and I sell paper bookmarks as of right now. And here's what they look like. These, as you can tell, are in cello sleeves. Now this, I don't really see a way from getting around it because it's such an interesting little shape. I don't think I can just put these loose on a shelf and have them not get lost or stolen or have people being like, what is it? So I think this has to stay in a sleeve. However, I do have a tale about paper bookmarks, and that is I tried to sell these with no sleeves. When I originally released these, particularly to wholesale, I sold them with no sleeves and no one ordered them. Now that they are sleeved, they get ordered with some regularity. So that's another consideration, right? If you're gonna make a product but no one's gonna buy it because of how it's packaged, you either need to choose to not make the product anymore or package it so that people will buy it. So this is one instance where I really tried to make this more sustainable, but it just wasn't serving my customers with that choice. And then the biggest culprit of all are greeting cards, which are sleeved in open-ended cello sleeves. Now, I have seen other card designers do a little sticker to hold the envelope and the card together. And I think about that all the time. And I've been wanting to ask my wholesale customers what they think about that. And I just haven't done it yet. But some of the things I'm afraid of with that method are, first of all, that it is going to turn off a large chunk of my wholesale customers. And greeting cards are one of my most popular products for my wholesale customers. So to have let's say half of my wholesale customers stop ordering because of that change is something I really need to weigh. The other thing is it would be a massive, massive undertaking for me to sell through my sleeved cards or unpackage my sleeved cards or just make that change. I have thousands of cards in my garage. And so it's something I actively think about all the time, and I just have not pulled the trigger on it yet. I just have not, I guess, had the guts to do it or the motivation in terms of like all the work it's gonna make for me. I also just, I don't know, is it really gonna keep the product safe? People handle cards. Like they pick them up, they flip them over. You have no idea how many times I go into one of my consignment shops and find envelopes out of the sleeves. Like people are taking these things out. They're like manhandling them. I cannot see how a card with a sticker holding it all together is gonna hold up in that kind of environment. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that, but I think about it all the time, you guys. If you guys saw my little studio tour video from last week, you'll recognize where I am. I'm over in my little overstock closet. But one other way that I'm kind of proud of myself that I be more sustainable in my business is when I'm stocking my consignment shops, I tend to package things up in various ways, whether it's in bins or boxes or bags or whatever. And you know what, you guys? I do not waste those stinking bags. I put so many things in Ziploc bags and I don't waste them. And here's my proof. This is my Ziploc bag drawer. These bags have been used over and over again. This bag is from my magnets manufacturer. My magnets came in this, and so I keep it, and then I'll put some sort of stock in this when I go deliver it to a shop, and sometimes it gets left with them, but if I'm just unloading the stock at the shop while I'm there, I take this home and I use it again. I wish I could show you some of the bags I've had in here. That's another magnet bag. All kinds of bags. I'm a bag lady, you guys. I store all the bags and I reuse the bags. And I also reuse the little paper shopping bags that you get from people. I save those and I bring stock to people in those. I give people their orders in those if they pick them up at my house. I tend to reuse stuff like that a lot. Another weird little way that I reuse rather than throwing things away is these are our greeting card bands. When a wholesale customer orders a case of greeting cards, they get banded together in one of these paper bands. But when I take these to my consignment shops, I usually take them by the case just because it's an easy way for me to just quick grab 6 cards. And when I put them on the shelf, I take these home and I use them again. Maybe that's really dorky, but I'm just like, why throw it away? I paid good money for it. Why stick it in a landfill or even a recycling facility when I can just literally use it again? So another just silly way that I'm just trying to reuse and recycle rather than throw things away. Welcome to the garage. If you guys have been around for a while, you've already seen the garage because I'm in here all the time. I store all kinds of things in here. But we are in the garage because now we're talking about how to be more sustainable in the way you ship your products. And one way is by reusing shipping supplies. So behind me right here is my box of boxes. These are all kinds of different boxes that I've saved from Amazon packages or other things like that. And I reuse these to ship larger orders in all the time. Behind this box, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, do you see that big, huge piece of paper right there? I also reuse all my void fill that I get from other things that I've ordered. So void fill is like the stuffing to keep what's in the box from moving around. So that big piece of brown paper right there is just like crinkle paper, and you could just ball it up and put it into the box to keep the contents from shifting around while it's shipping. I've got a whole huge box of bubble wrap, brown crinkle paper like that, craft paper, things like that that I use when I'm shipping packages. I'm actually quite proud to tell you that I have never purchased a roll of bubble wrap in the 8 years that I've been running this business. I've purchased bubble mailers, not the most proud of that, but I have never purchased bubble wrap. So if you get bubble wrap in your order, it's being recycled. Now, I mentioned bubble mailers just a minute ago, so we're back in my little shipping area in my studio, and that is actually one of the things that I'm actively working on reducing is how many bubble mailers that I use. I used to mail almost everything out in a bubble mailer, whether you bought earrings or magnets, all kinds of things, I would mail them in a bubble mailer. And there probably still will be some things I mail in a bubble mailer, but For the smaller accessory items, I tend to sell a lot of like earrings, magnets, bookmarks, smaller items. I'm trying to transition from this bubble mailer to a little cardboard mailer box. I think it's actually gonna protect things even better also, but because it's paper, it's at least recyclable this time versus more plastic. Like I said, I probably can't get fully away from bubble mailers because there might be some things that are larger than these boxes, but I'm trying to transition over to these little mailer boxes. I also have quite a few bubble mailers I need to actually use up before I can fully transition to this, but I'm trying to use them. So keep placing your orders, you guys. Let's move through these bubble mailers. There are several other ways that I can reduce my packaging in my shipping as well. Some of those ways that I'm trying to do that are by, first of all, just reducing the elements in the package. I've talked about this before on my profitability video about how you don't necessarily need to stick in all these different extras, and everything doesn't need to be bagged inside a bag, inside a box, inside a bubble mailer, right? I try really hard to minimize the number of items going into a package. I try to make it a really nice experience for people, but in such a way that it's not overdone or potentially becoming wasteful by sticking things in there that no one wants and just end up in the trash anyway. Also, when it comes to bringing packages to the post office, I always try to lump those runs when I'm already out running other errands. I think that I actually started to develop this practice during COVID when gas was super high, or recently when gas has been super high, not making special trips to do only one thing. I try to batch my errands, including my post office drops, together so that I'm not making multiple trips. I'm just doing like one single trip. And then finally, I also always give local customers the opportunity to pick up at my house if they want to. They just have to enter a code at checkout. DM me on Instagram if that's you and you want that code. That can kind of help save on gas and emissions also if people just want to pick it up again on their way somewhere versus waiting for the post office to bring it to them. That's just one other small way that you almost don't even think of as a sustainability move, but is a way that you can save on like extra emissions going into the air. Like I said in the beginning, I am not an expert at this. I still use entirely more cello sleeves than I wish I did, but I'm actively trying to find ways to reduce and reuse in my handmade product business. If you have other ways that you think I could reduce and reuse, I would love to hear them in the comments. I am always looking for ways to improve, especially on this front. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, or even better, subscribe. You have no idea how much that helps me out. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I will see you in the next one.